Hey, so I was just wrapping up a workout and I wanted to take a minute to step away from the spreadsheet just to share a little more about myself and the journey I've been on. And then I can touch on how ShredSheet has been a part of that. But I, throughout my life, have struggled with my weight. I've yo-yoed, uh, you know, for as long as I can remember. And most recently, I'd say over the last 5 years, I put on like 50, 55 pounds just stress eating. And it was right after my dad passed. I moved from New York to Austin, Texas. And then we had our first kid, and it was all within like 3 months that stuff happened. And I look at that as just kind of being something that triggered me to go on this path. And so I struggled with it for the last 5 years, and last year I sat down and thought, I've yo-yoed for so long. I know that I can lose the weight, that I can get real thin if I do certain things, but I don't want to yo-yo anymore. And so I focused on what's the game plan that's going to get me past the yo-yoing. And I talked to my wife, and one of the things she said was, look, you're probably going to take 10 years before you can really change, make a change that's permanent like that. And so I said, okay, well, then this is going to be my 10-year plan. And I'm 35, or last year I was 34, and that gives me about 10 years to figure it out and to plan for it. And I felt a sort of pressure relief from that. So I took a break, I took a pause, and I worked on kind of accepting my starting point and decided I was going to give myself a year of that 10-year plan to just figure out what my motivation was. Why do I want to do this in the first place? Because I don't think I really ever sat down and studied my motivation. I said I was going to give myself a year just to figure that out, and I landed on a couple of things. One of them was that I knew that time was of the essence, that I have the ability to build muscle and get strong now, more so than I will in 10 years and 20 years. And I want to build muscle and be strong so that when I get older, I'm in a better position. I'm less likely to get sick, to be weak. And I think as a parent also, the second reason is I want to be strong enough to pick up my grandkids, to go for a bike ride when my kids move out. I want to be able to enjoy that time after I hit 50, 55, and be in good health. And then the final, maybe more specific reason is my daughter has my body type, and we're thick people. And so I wanted to set an example for her of what it would be like what it's like to take care of that kind of body. And so I looked back at the type of physique that I want to have, and I had always gone for this sort of like super skinny, Spider-Man-ish physique. Like I always thought, hey, that's what I should be. That's what I want to be. And it just wasn't for me. I'm just a big guy, generally thick person, and it wasn't the right way to go. I mean, not that I couldn't force the issue, not that I couldn't just be like, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna diet down real hard, and not that I couldn't force it, but I never really explored weightlifting, and so it was an opportunity for me to give that a shot. And I started it May of last year, and I went searching for a spreadsheet template to help me on the path, and I didn't find one that kind of worked for me as a spreadsheet nerd, and so I built my own. I have other content talking about about ShredSheet itself, but I think the big thing that stood out to me was how do I kind of maintain the drive to do this over the course of 10 years? How do I find ways to keep myself motivated, but also study my motivation in the first place before I even get started? Get a solid base of motivation that I can always go back to, that's not tied to my vanity or other things that I can always bend. I can always just be like, you know what, I don't have to look good today, or you know what, I don't care if I binge here or do this or skip a workout or whatever, because I look good enough or whatever. Like, yeah, I needed some kind of solid motivation. And what I'd say is, you know, if you've yo-yoed like me in the past, I've never felt more solid, like on more solid footing, on more solid ground than after having spent, it ended up taking 6 weeks figuring out what my motivation was, really trying to cement what that long-term motivation was. So with that, I'll leave you to it. Go out and get after it, be amazing, and I genuinely wish you the best and just super well on your journey to your kind of fitness.